A lawsuit claiming student female athletes at San Diego State are treated differently than the men will move forward. Details coming up.
1 week after a cleanup, homeless encampments are back here across from the Plaza Bonita Mall. We'll tell you what's being done about it.
U.S. and Indonesian Marines training on Camp Pendleton with amphibious landing craft.
Planes and pollution. We're working for you to find out which is the best way to travel if you're trying to help our planet.
You did it, San Diego. You got Tom and his mobility van back on the road.
But first, more accusations against former Congressman Duncan Hunter tonight. CBS 8 News live at 6 starts now.
Former Congressman Duncan Hunter Jr. is making national headlines again, this time for a deadly friendly fire incident in the 2004 during the Iraq War. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Carlo Cicchetto.
And I'm Jesse Pagan in for Marcella Lee. Hunter is the focus of a new NPR podcast called Taking Cover. CBS 8's David Garfordson talked with the NPR investigative reporters who've spent the past 3 years revealing what they're calling a government cover-up.
It's mid-April 2004. Gunfire rips through the streets and alleyways of Fallujah.
The 7-part NPR podcast Taking Cover is the work of investigative producer Graham Smith and NPR Pentagon correspondent Tom Bowman. 3 years ago, Bowman says he got a tip from a reliable source who told him about a friendly fire incident in Iraq that killed 2 Marines and an interpreter inside a schoolhouse.
We were sitting in a whiskey bar in Washington, D.C., and he said there was this friendly fire incident back in 2004 during the first Battle of Fallujah. And it was covered up because the son of a powerful politician was involved. That politician was Duncan Hunter Sr., then chairman of the Armed Services Committee.
Duncan Hunter Sr. and Duncan Hunter Jr. both are former congressmen from the East County. In 2004, Duncan Hunter Jr. was a Marine lieutenant in Fallujah, Iraq, stationed in a control center, making decisions where to fire mortars at enemy positions.
We have the investigative report that we got from the widow of one of the men who was killed, has a statement written by Duncan Hunter where he says he plotted this target on the map. He pushed in a yellow pin at the spot where the target near the schoolhouse.
For 3 years, the families of the men killed didn't even know the incident was the result of friendly fire.
It's like it never happened. And so we started digging into it. We went to the Marines and said, have you investigated this? And the Marines said, we can't find any mention of this, any investigative report.
None of the officers involved, including Duncan Hunter Jr., were disciplined.
The bottom line is he got away scot-free. He was never punished in any way. Those who were punished, those punishments were brushed aside by a general named Jim Mattis, who later, of course, became Defense Secretary under President Trump.
Oh! The NPR investigation revealed mistakes were made in mapping out the target of the mortar attack and strongly implies there was a government cover-up of the incident because the son of a congressman was involved.
Duncan Hunter Jr. was involved here, and one of the big questions is, why wasn't he cited at all?
Now, I reached out to both Duncan Hunter Sr. and Duncan Hunter Jr., but neither one of them responded to my messages seeking comment.
David, this is a friendly fire incident in Iraq 19 years ago. What did the people involved have to say all these years later?
Well, one of those Marines who was involved in the incident didn't even know it was a friendly fire incident until those journalists knocked on his door and actually showed him the investigative report. The podcast also includes a lot of firsthand accounts from Marines who were on the ground when that mortar attack happened. And of course, we now know it turns out that it was a friendly fire incident.
Sure, this isn't the last we're going to hear about this. David Garfordson reporting live for us. Thanks, David.
If you're taking a Southwest flight or picking up somebody from the airport tonight, you may want to check ahead for the status of that flight. Tech delays this morning are still causing a ripple effect at airports nationwide, including here in San Diego. The airline was forced to pause operations this morning, and that caused hundreds of flights to be delayed around the U.S. Some passengers told us their flights were even canceled and they were rebooked on others. At last check, there are still delayed Southwest flights into and out of San Diego International Airport.
A class action lawsuit against SDSU over allegations of discrimination against female athletes is moving forward.
CBS 8's Shannon Handy has more on this case and how both the plaintiffs' attorneys and the university are responding tonight.
The female athletes filing this suit claim they received unequal financial aid, unfair treatment, and they were retaliated against. This case sets a precedent because it's the first one of its kind in the country.
This is a major victory for the women at SDSU and for women nationwide.
Arthur Bryan is a lead attorney representing 17 female athletes from San Diego State in a lawsuit claiming the university violated Title IX, a civil rights policy that prohibits sex discrimination in schools that receive federal funding. The athletes, who are part of the track and rowing team, say SDSU deprived them of more than $5.36 million in financial aid between 2010 and 2020, alleging this practice still continues to this day.
Instead of giving them their proportionate share of the financial aid dollars, it is actually depriving them of over $600,000 a year and giving the men $600,000 more than they're supposed to have.
In addition, the women say they were treated differently and retaliated against after speaking out. Bryant recalls one claim involving the track coach who allegedly told those who joined the lawsuit it was both disappointing and a distraction, adding participating in college sports was a privilege, not a right.
And after she said that, all of the rest of the track team members who had expressed an interest in being involved had said, never mind, we're not going to do anything to jeopardize our scholarships or upset our coach.
When the lawsuit was first filed, a federal judge dismissed 2 of the 3 claims. After recently refiling an updated one, the same judge ruled it can move forward, a key step towards trial. During an interview with CBS 8 last year, one of the athletes explained the goal behind this case.
Above everything else, we want women and men athletes to be treated equally.
In response to the judge's ruling, a spokesperson for SDSU denied the accusations, writing in part, "The court's ruling simply means that some of the plaintiff's allegations meet the minimum requirements for eligibility to proceed to the next phase of the case, which is still in its infancy. The court expressly carved out any opinion about whether the plaintiffs would be able to prove any monetary damages at some point in the future. SDSU awards almost all possible scholarships permitted under NCAA rules for both its men's and women's teams, with the remaining fraction explained by legitimate, non-discriminatory reasons within SDSU coaches' discretion." If you would like to read SDSU's statement in its entirety, just log on to CBS8.com and click on this story. Reporting from San Diego State, I'm Shannon Handy for CBS 8.
Thank you, Shannon. A lockdown has been lifted at Riverside City College, where police say an armed man barricaded himself inside a storm drain earlier today. It all started this morning when the unidentified man was seen on the football field. Students and staff were told to shelter in place. Riverside police say when they tried to arrest the man, he ran into the storm drain. He was finally found and arrested early this afternoon.
Marines are in the middle of a training exercise right now, storming the beach at Camp Pendleton.
Our Sean Stiles is there live. The training exercise got underway just a short time ago. Sean joins us now with what's going on out there right now. Sean?
Jesse, Carlo, literally moments ago, the Indonesian Marine Corps, along with Marines here at Camp Pendleton, made their way on the beach, and we are deep in within the base. I mean, this is a place that I have never been to, and I've surfed up and down this coastline, but this is some bilateral exercises being done by the Camp Pendleton Marines, the Charlie Company here on the base, as well as the Indonesian Komar, or what we would call Marines. This is some amphibious training which started back on April 10th. Now they'll be wrapping things up on the 20th, but they've been practicing these beach assaults with the 2 Marine Corps, and they've been doing them over the past 4 or 5 days. This was the 5th and final one, and these are real live action assaults. They're coming on the beach, mocked to actually take the beach, looking for safe haven as they make their way on. They've got a drone that flies over the top. It's called a Puma system, and that makes sure that they scout out the beach and make things safe up and down the beach. Now, we did talk to Captain John Ferguson to tell us about some of the training with the Indonesian Marines.
We spent 2 days training on the creeks down in the Del Mar Boat Basin and actually on the same exact beach landing site here. So we gave them the opportunity to get acclimated to the temperatures of the water. Really, there's a similar environment. I mean, obviously coming from ship to shore, or a simulated ship to shore movement, The weather is going to be a little bit different. However, we can take the same standard operating procedures and apply them to different environments. Really, the difference will be the type of equipment they're going to be wearing on their bodies.
All right, now, if you could take our shot back live here, we look down the beach, you can see the Marines making their way as they assault the beach right now. This is all a part of a bilateral exercise to make sure that the two nations are in sync when they are training on this type of exercises. So live here from Camp Pendleton, literally in the middle of nowhere on the beach. We'll send it back to you in the studio.
Fascinating stuff. Thanks, Sean. Still ahead, a follow-up. We're working for you to see why the county's efforts to clear out a homeless encampment near Plaza Bonita may not be working.
Plus, Governor Gavin Newsom talks about keeping protections in place if the Supreme Court overturns FDA approval of an abortion pill.
We saw more sunshine closer towards the coast for today, and now a whole lot more is on the way as we go into the week ahead, as well as a big warm-up. All those details are coming up.
And up next, at least one person has been killed in a parking garage collapse in Lower Manhattan's financial district.